Hello and welcome to day 3 of the challenge. Alright, so it is another day, and for those who are just catching up, I'm basically taking a photo every single day for 30 days, so 30 photos in 30 days, and it is for charity. Links in the description below. And yeah, so gotta think. The hardest part, sorry, dogs. The hardest part about this is coming up with an idea for a photo every day. I'm trying not to take photos of just boring everyday stuff like flowers and things, even though I probably will at some point. But yeah, that's definitely the hardest thing. Alright, so I'll come up with the photo I am going to take today. I've never done this before, I've just seen it a few times around the internet and stuff like that. It is a little bit more artistic, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do. And I've realised in the last two videos, or the last two like challenge videos, I haven't really spoken about all the photography too much. So I'm going to start doing that a little bit more, obviously talk about the camera settings and things like that. I do have a photography course at the end of the day, so yeah, I should be trying to explain the photography stuff a little bit more. Also, mentioning that course, anyone who is interested in doing a photography course, I have one that covers basically everything from the start to the beginning, the beginning to the end of photography. So it's great for beginners, but it's also good for people who already have a little bit of an understanding of photography. Links in the description below, and I'll be donating $15 to Action Against Hunger for anyone who enrolls in the course using that link below. So enough about that, let's get started. First thing, I'll tell you what you're going to need. So just like a glass bowl or dish of some kind, some oil. I've just got olive oil here, so cooking oil, and you can use food coloring or colored paper or something like that. But what I'm going to do, I have a tablet, so like an iPad, but it's not. I'm going to put an image on the screen, and you'll see how it's going to basically work. All right, now that we have some water in the bowl, we're going to add some of that oil. And as you may know, oil and water doesn't really mix, so the oil's just going to float around in there and give us a pretty cool effect. I might just mix that up. Not mix it up, but just kind of stir it around. We might need more than this because we're looking for those big bubbles. Alright, now this is probably a part where you want to be really careful, but what I do have is an Android tablet, and I've just got a really colourful image on it, and I've made sure the screen brightness is up full. What I'm going to do is sit this down on the bench. Nearly dropped it. Sit this down on the bench and then put the glass dish on top of it so that the colourful image on the tablet is shining through our oily water. So I'll set that on there now. I won't film that because it's going to be hard to do. I want to do it with two hands. I don't want to drop water and oil all over my tablet. So I'll set that on there now and I'll show you what it looks like, and then we can start talking about camera settings and things like that. Alright, so this is what we've got. Got to keep tapping the screen, which is annoying, but doesn't look crazy, but in the viewfinder on the screen it actually looks pretty cool. Alright, so I'm about to take that photo now. Just want to tell you my camera settings. So I've gone for f2.8, which is the widest aperture this lens can do. And the reason for that is I want to try and get kind of like the tops of the bubbles more in focus rather than the background. Even though they're really close together, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I'm at ISO 100 for the least possible amount of grain and stuff like that, and noise. And 1/30th is the shutter speed to get a good exposure. So I'm going to take that photo now. I'm using autofocus and it seems to be doing pretty well. Self timer of 2 seconds. Now the one thing to keep in mind is depending how close your camera is to the bubbles and things like that, you may need a macro lens. I've actually got this here. It's my normal Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter lens, but I've had to use some macro tubes so that it can focus that close up, because I've kind of had to get the camera, it doesn't look that close, but it has to be pretty close, and it's zoomed in all the way as well. So yeah, you may need a lens that does have a close focus distance, and also one that you can get really close to the bubbles with so it looks better. Otherwise you can just crop in when you edit in Lightroom or whatever. But I'll take this photo now, give it a quick edit, and then I'm going to chuck it up here for you to see. And that should be that one done. So I just realized you could probably get the exact same effect by using, or a very similar effect by using dishwashing liquid in water and just making bubbles, or bubble bath, something like that. But yeah, it worked out kind of cool. It's not a photo I would take kind of thing. It's not something that I've thought, every time I take photos, it's usually for like a purpose for a job or something like that. So getting artistic isn't really something I do all the time, but I really enjoyed that. I think it came out pretty cool. Alright, so it is the end of another day. I just checked the donations earlier. There's no new ones, but if you do want to donate, check the link in the description below. It is going to a good cause, so yeah, be much appreciated. Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow for the next day in the challenge.